116th Congress is the most educated group ever, with 72% of House lawmakers earning a graduate degree. C-SPAN recently spoke with several of the new faces. Dan Meuser, a Republican from Pennsylvania's 9th District, is new to Washington, but not to politics. He served as the state's Secretary of Revenue. He also helped to build a medical equipment company with his family. Congressman Meuser, where did you grow up?
Well, actually, I grew up in Long Island, New York. My father was a police officer. We grew up in certainly a very middle-class household. My mom stayed home with us, but when we went off to school, she went off to work. I had a brother and a sister, and wouldn't change a minute of it. We're blessed with a great childhood.
What kind of values did your parents instill in you?
Well, you know, my father was a New York City police officer, so we had somewhat of a rigid household, you might say. But at the same time, he kept us busy. Probably chores, sports, and homework in that order is what we all focused on and did. But values of hard work, values of honestly believing in America, and knowing that if you get educated and you work hard and reach for some goals, you could do well. And my brother and I and my sister, we took those values to heart, and it's really what led to us going into business together. We helped to grow, we did grow a small business into what became a very large business, and what is now today the largest manufacturer and designer in the world of the best power mobility devices for people with disabilities in the world. So,
is there something, an experience of your childhood, or something your mother or your father would say to you as kids that you carry around with you still today?
Yeah, quite a few things, probably. My mom was always good with quotes to give us enthusiasm. But one thing I'll say my dad would say, he would say, never say I can't. And I've had my children understand that. Just don't say I can't. Say I can try harder, I can figure out a way, can you show me how, but never say I can't.
How do you think that impacted you in the decisions that you made going into adulthood and where you are today?
Figuring out how to get things done. And sometimes things you want to get done, you can't get done necessarily today, but you study, you work, you put yourself into a position so as you do have another opportunity to achieve those goals. My whole life was very much based upon that, as many people in America. You know, I mean, I had a good American business story and made it here to Congress. But fortunately, there's a lot of good such stories. You know, we did start with a very small opportunity, and we grew it into a larger. We had more failures and mistakes than I can count. But you get past them. You recognize them fast. You don't try to kid yourself. You check your ego out the door. You underpromise and overdeliver. All the business sayings that are daily reality. But I carried those sayings into being Revenue Secretary for the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and I'm absolutely going to carry those here. You know, you really got to be real about things. Assess what the problem is. Don't try to fool ourselves. No, we have to deal with Democrats and Republicans and other entities, such as the White House, and figure out how to move forward.
How did you start your business, and you started it with your siblings? Is that right?
Actually, my brother and father were the co-founders back in 1987. I joined them in 1988. Small furniture assembly. We made one specific product, and then we just got good at it over time. Treated customers right. Figured out some great operational efficiencies and started winning customers throughout the country and then throughout the world.
How did you end up in Pennsylvania?
Well, that's a good question. Since I was started my life and grew up in Long Island, the business opportunity happened to be in Pittston, Pennsylvania. A company by the name of Pride Lumber and Furniture at the time that we went and renamed Pride Healthcare, which is now known as Pride Mobility Products. But that is what brought us there. I went to school in New York. I went to Maritime College. I went to Cornell. A couple of years after that, I decided to see what my father and brother were doing, and with this new business that they put together, and well, it worked out well.
How did you become a conservative, or have you always thought of yourself as a conservative?
You know, public service is something that's been in my mind and since I was very young, actually. I would read a lot in school, a lot of history, government, philosophy, what works in government. I did grow up in the age, my first person I voted for was Ronald Reagan. In 1984, I guess it was, and I really appreciated what was going on there. And I'll also say this, I didn't appreciate what was going on in the Jimmy Carter days. I thought it was very ineffective. I didn't think there was leadership. Ronald Reagan came in not just with confidence, but with policies, and he let the America do its thing. He let the limited government and focus on the private sector and reducing taxes and talking about and reducing regulations and trying to put more money into the pockets of families and of workers and of people. That's what drives the economy. I mean, look at today. We did there were a number of stimulus packages done 6 years ago under the Obama administration, and the economy did not pick up. We did or the former Congress and the president did the tax cut, and we truly have a booming economy that is very favorable to many, many people throughout the 9th Congressional District. And just a note about the 9th Congressional District, you know, one of the reasons I think that they saw in me someone who could carry their voice to Washington was because I completely understand their frustrations. The people in the 9th, you know, some people say what is so great about their districts. We have the best people. I mean, we have the people in the 9th Congressional in Pennsylvania that built America, that love America, but are very frustrated with the government. They feel as if they continue to work harder and give and really get nothing back in return. They do feel forgotten. And I get that. I mean, I had a campaign of inclusion, we called it. A very wise gentleman from my district would always tell me, follow the politics of inclusion, which I did. And we brought people in, and that's what I'm doing now that I'm in office. Right? I don't really like making a move without our people being aware of what we're doing on their behalf, why we're doing it, and what the potential outcomes are. But our campaign was very much about understanding what they wanted. Conservatism is, in my view, focusing on accentuating the positives that have made our country great and mitigating, if not eliminating, those that drag us down. And freedom. Freedom of the marketplaces, limited government, certainly with a lawful society. I mean, you know, obviously, but ones that policies that create an environment for job creation and for opportunity. That's our main job. We don't create jobs here in government. In fact, we probably get in the way of the job creation, which we have to stop. We need to be enablers of employers, of families, not disablers, if you will. We need to encourage, not discourage, on every policy issue that we vote on or get behind.